It's been a very eventful week with the newspapers, social media, radio and television filled with various stories from around the states. Some good, others not so good.
All the time, John. Yes, some friends of mine have actually advised that we shut out the news and stories making rounds in order to stay sane and focused. But I beg to disagree here, because mere wishing away the facts, they don't solve the problems. They don't get the problems pushed away. And so I just think that we need to face the problems, just strike a balance
Head on.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and I guess we are contributing one way or the other to the challenges of our times. So everyone should be a part of the solution.
I agree with you totally. Okay, so being a part of the solution.
So what are the problems?
The problems of this country, the problems of life. Someone said that as long as you're breathing, as long as you're in an environment where people have divergent opinions and backgrounds and all of that, that there will be constant conflict and challenges and problems. And the way to solve them is really
to keep talking.
To keep talking.
To keep
and
engaging.
Keep learning and keep engaging.
Yeah,
yes, talking is key.
I agree. I agree with that totally, Helen.
And that's why we have the media, the various arms of media talking, different people talking. And that's why we are in a democracy where people are encouraged to talk.
And I'm sure that the social media has even taken it one notch higher, engaging us even in our bathrooms,
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree with you.
I looked in some of the dailies or the social media in the week up till tonight, and I found some happenings around Nigeria, some interesting to some extent, and not too interesting like your opening, like the resident doctors who have rejected the court order to suspend industrial action. And they're headed for the appeal court. And I wonder what the outcome from the appeal court will be, because we cannot, at this point in time, accommodate another strike from the medical practitioners.
It's become a recurring decimal in our lives. Now they're on for 6 months, and for the next God knows how long, they're out again. So I wonder when there will ever be.
Especially with COVID.
Yes.
With COVID.
The challenges. Yes, with the challenges everywhere. Well, we can only hope, that things get better.
And for our brothers and sisters in the Southeast, there's withdrawal. There's a threat of withdrawal of services by the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. We hear right now that fuel is going for a lot higher out there, than is permitted.
Well, it's always been the case. The prices outside Lagos have always been, way through the roof.
So what's the noise about right now?
I don't see anything new. It's not new.
Okay.
Pump prices outside Lagos have always been higher than you find in most parts of
Maybe
Lagos.
at this point is higher than high.
Higher than high.
Than what used to be. Yeah, because really, if you have friends from that part of the country, you would know.
Yes.
That the long queues are back, and not only long queues, you practically don't find diesel or fuel.
It must be higher than high.
And it must be biting hard on them.
Yes.
And finally from me, students are jittery again over impending fresh ASU strike. So it's strike and strike and strike.
And we never seem to get out of it.
Where is the solution, John?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Like you said, the solution is with us. We always have to keep engaging and keep talking about it. And that's why we're here at PlusTvAfrica. Yeah, Helen?
All right. That's why we're here. And today's show is also a part of the solution.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at the solution to some societal issues. And we're going to set the agenda, and we do this every week on this show. We plan to set the agenda for a more stable, prosperous, united, happy, and productive family.
Yep.
And on that note, it's my pleasure today to welcome you, all of you there who make it a date with us every Saturday morning and Sunday morning and Saturday night to this weekend show that is solely dedicated, to the family. I'm Helen Omaudele. It's my pleasure to be here this morning.
So like you heard, it's Today with John and Helen on Plus TV Africa. I am John Senaya, and we thank God for life, thank God for Nigeria, and for the family unit. Today we focus on support organizations and how they impact the family and society at large.
Especially, John, at a time such as this, with the difficulties and the challenges facing families from diverse directions. Looking at support system, in my opinion, or support organization is most appropriate right now.
Of course it is. So much to share on the program today. But let's take a break. You stay with us.
Okay, you're still on to Today with John and Helen on Plus TV Africa. Support organizations are everywhere. They cover all sectors. They are organizations that assist in emergency management activities by providing support in restoring essential services or carrying out functions of a humanitarian or technical nature.
Sounds like you went to school for that, Helen.
Ooh, somehow, John.
Okay, good. You really captured it all.
Thank you.
So, our first guest will help us with a global outlook, while Ferron, the lifestyle and wellness host, will take the task of breaking down sexual abuse support with her guest. Now, moving to the main conversation, which centers around support organizations, it's time to meet our first guest, who is in the thick of the business of rendering support to others, especially widows. Our guest is Apostle Eunice, wait for it, Oboriwori. She's a widow herself with 3 young adult children, a certified human resource practitioner and president, Zarafat Widows Welfare Outreach. Thank you for coming, madam. Correct the surname, please.
Thank you, John.
Yes.
My surname is Obewori.
Obewori.
Yes.
So easy.
Yes, very easy.
Yes.
But because of the V,
Yes,
so it's Oborewori.
Obewori.
Thank you.
What does it mean? We're Africans. What does it mean?
Yeah, it's funny enough, it's an abbreviated name.
It's even
That one
abbreviated.
is-
Yes.
Wow.
I'm not sure you want to know the full name.
Please spare us.
So it typically means what you have is what disturbs you. What you have is what can hurt you. What you have is what can bless you.
Can be everything.
So it's just like saying that
what you have.
a member of your household is your trouble spot, so to say. Members
also
of your
your
household are your...
Can also be a blessing
Yes.
to you. Yeah.
So literally, that's what it means.
That makes sense.
So a stranger cannot really hurt you the way a relative can hurt you,
Yeah.
so to say.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so
Makes a lot of
that's what it
sense.
means.
Okay, because
The abbreviated form.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so true. If you don't open the door
Thank
from
you.
the inside, nobody can access your
Absolutely.
home and your heart from the outside. John,
Absolutely.
I'm
Philosophical
so deep this
Helen.
morning.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure, madam, having you on
Thank
our
you
show.
for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
so as we take on the role of support organizations on today's show, would like for you to start this way by defining that space for us, as a professional that you are. I have tried to do mine from the novice point of view. As a professional and a practitioner, kindly define what support organizations mean.
Okay, from my understanding, support organizations cater to, speak to, address the issues of the less privileged, the vulnerable in our midst. Regardless of where you're from, you will always have this set of people in your midst, in your communities. So support organizations are intentional ways of addressing the issues of these people, giving them a voice, so to say, having channels and structures in place to take care of them in the way that will not make them feel less human or less valued.
Okay.
I like that. And you see, the operational word there is intentional.
Sure.
Yeah, it's intentional, so that you gear all of your efforts towards a particular goal, providing a particular solution to peculiar needs. So that's the professional angle, and that's why we asked you.
That's why she's here.
That's why you're here. So that's
you.
the professional angle.
Thank you.
You will agree also that many people and perhaps groups, start off initiatives purely on maybe sentimental grounds and all of that. So tell me, how do they transit from sentiment to professionalism.
Thank you, John.
Does it sound like you?
Yes, I think a bit, yes. You can't deny the fact that sentiments are involved. When we talk about this category of people, when we talk about support organizations for vulnerable people, less privileged people, widows, orphans, the elderly, even some missions, emotions are involved. Because if the emotions are not involved, you won't have the passion for what you are doing or what you want to go into. So I think from my own perspective, it starts with emotions. It starts with your emotions being involved, being triggered, your compassion being triggered towards these people. And maybe like for me, it was also triggered by personal experiences. So emotions are involved. But you can't stop with just emotions. You can't stop at sentiments. You can't stop at just the passion. You have to be professionally equipped. You have to be professionally equipped to do what you are doing. You have to study. You have to have emotional intelligence.
Yes.
You have to demonstrate emotional intelligence for you to be able to support optimally these people that we are discussing today.
Yes.
So I think it grows from emotion. It grows from emotions. It grows from your passion. It grows from compassion into emotional intelligence, into gaining some skills, counseling skills, involving the right people.
Okay. All right. So we know that you are the president, of one of those organizations and is registered by government.
Yeah.
Would like to know, how does government come in? What does government require, or what government requirement do we need to set up a support organization?
Okay, thank you, Ellie. My organization, Zarafat Widows Welfare Outreach, you just mentioned, is fully registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. And we went through the processes, the cumbersome processes of getting registered, certified, approved. Because, like I mentioned earlier, this all was triggered by emotions, by my passion, by compassion. Yeah. But I went a step further because of my professional background, certification. I am a certified human resources practitioner. Okay. And with that background, I decided that whatever I'm doing has to be certified by the government. And of course, it's already certified by God, because I got the backing of God before I started in a more intentional way. So I have to be certified with the law of the land. I have to get the proper certification to start doing what I'm doing professionally, not just being moved by emotions or by the whims of the day or how I feel per day.
Okay, so, you actually use the word cumbersome. Because for a lot of women or for a lot of people, from personal experience, they would like to go into helping others, When you say cumbersome, how cumbersome is it? And is it likely to deter some people who would want to step into this shoes?
Absolutely, Ellen, absolutely. It's quite cumbersome because I understand that there are new regulations with the Corporate Affairs Commission, and it made it more cumbersome. I will just do a summary. Okay. First of all, you have to get the name approved.
Yes.
In my own case, by the leading of God, I got the name I actually got for the organization, for the outreach. When I sent it in, it was not approved. Okay, I prayerfully got another name. It wasn't approved. And these are not within 1 day, 2 days. Sometimes it takes like a week or sometimes 2 weeks before they come back to you that your name is not approved.
Not available.
Thank you, that's the word. Not available. You get another name, because I wanted to give up. I have to be very honest with you. I wanted to give up with the registration process. That let me just
beyond the name?
Yes. Let me just do what I'm doing. So I think we did and my lawyer was very experienced and also very patient. He was even the one encouraging me, Madam, bring another name. So we did it like 4 times, maybe the 5th time. The 5th one, it was even the one that got the name together. I said, please do what you need to do. And it was available. That is just one stage.
Yes.
Once the name was available, approved and signed, and we were given the go-ahead by the Corporate Affairs Commission, it went to the next stage of, I don't know the details. Those are legal stuff. It went to, they were doing their back stuff and getting everything approved. And it took a while. It took a while. I know that I will have to call my lawyer. What is going on? And he will give me some updates that I can share or I can share online. And they were not very, very encouraging stuff. So you are right that some people might want to get their NGOs registered to be on the right side of the law, to do things professionally, but not everybody have the patience or the resources to get this done. Or some might even get involved with, I don't want to use quack lawyers. If you don't get a lawyer that is experienced in this business, you might not be able to just get to the end of the process. Because I know my lawyer was encouraging me that we are on the right track. Give it time, give it time, give it time, give it time. Then all of a sudden, I wasn't even expecting it. I got an email. He sent it to me. We are good to go. Everything is approved. NGO is approved. So it's cumbersome. It might discourage some people. It might deter some people. It might slow down some people. But
you need to persist.
You need to persist because that is the right way to go.
Yeah, that's the right way to go. Yes,
that is the right way to go. You need to have it. Have your NGO. You have to have the law backing it. Even if you are spiritual about it as well, you have to have the law of the land backing what you're doing.
And that is the point. That really you have to have the law of the land backing every move that you take.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Obviously, there's a glut in the market, so to speak, especially with the, number of NGOs and such organizations managing widows and supporting victims of domestic violence. They have so many of them. Are there any controls in place for self-regulation, by these support organizations, apart from what government is doing?
I think the ensuring that everyone is fully registered with the government is a major regulatory step. Yeah, it's a major one. But like you said, there are still a lot that are still going on in the field. Yes. There are still a lot that you really don't even want to share. There are really a lot that you don't have. There are a lot that are not really genuine. Yes. There are lots that are using these people, these vulnerable people, for selfish needs. Yes. For self whatever. I won't deny that. And being in the field as well, I get that reaction from people. Yes. That how we sure that you don't want to use it to get contracts. You don't want to use it to go and get money from government, or you don't want to use this to you just give the women some kind of food and you pocket everything that you get, some pittance, or you share some pictures everywhere. And are you sure you are doing it for these people? You won't blame such comments or feedback, because people who are doing those things are really there.
So how do you control
So I really don't know how we can control that. I really don't. Maybe another step would be to really insist on this registration, certification, registration. I think that would be, so that falls on government. So if you are registering this body, are you monitoring those who are registered?
Yeah, that's the word.
Are you monitoring those who are not?
Supervision.
Supervision. Thank you, Ellen. Supervision. Are you checking these people? Are they registered?
Who they claim they are?
Are they who they claim they are? The resources they are getting, even if it's self-sponsored or they are getting resources from other bodies, are they using it genuinely for the purpose for which they got these resources? Are they really genuine? Okay. So I think I would like to call for more supervision. Yeah. More supervision, yes. I don't know how the government or the relevant bodies want to go about that, but I think we need to do supervision. I don't think I'm seeing anything about supervision currently. Okay. Nothing about supervision currently. So it's like open field or free for all. So those who are registered are there. Those who are not registered, they are all operating together.
Yes.
Really, there's no difference, except if for those who have the mind that, no, I want to do this the right way.
Yeah.
Those who don't want to do it the right way, they are still operating together with everybody. So you have...
So for me, apart from the passion and the experience that somebody has and say, okay, I'd like to make life better for another person, so that person doesn't go through, what I went through, especially when we look at the issue of widowhood in our environment in the African society. It's more of credibility and people believing that you really, really are called and you have all it takes, to give service in this very, very sensitive and important area. Once upon a time, there was an ambassador, Segun Olushola, of the Refugees Foundation many years ago. And he started talking about, taking care of refugees in the African, continent.
Space.
And we never knew that very soon we would have a semblance of refugees, in our environment. And there are scores of organizations, taking care of these people in different areas, health, counseling and all of that in the IDP camps all across Nigeria. And I believe that's what you also do. But coming, directly to what we're talking about, we've seen international affiliations playing a major role in the support for these organizations. Getting support, financial support, so technical support from foreign countries easily. And could you please give an insight into this? Is it everybody who says I am an NGO or I'm a support organization that freely accesses support, financially or otherwise, from international organizations?
I'll be very honest with you. I have not had any affiliations with international bodies, but I've heard of it. I've read about them online, and people also share pictures and things like that, but I've not had any personal experiences with them. And like I mentioned earlier, it is still falls back to, you use the word credibility. It falls back to that as well. What I've noticed so far is, I don't want to use the word, the person that first, maybe they make contact first, then they get contact with international bodies and all that. So I really don't know how they go about it, and I don't want to delve into that.
So you source your resources, your funding, your support from within?
Yes, currently it's like
which is also
90% self-sponsored.
Yes.
Wow.
Currently it's about 90% self-sponsored. And the other 10% I get from few colleagues, few like-minded colleagues. And do I have any? I think they're mostly colleagues.
Yeah.
Yes, but 90% self-sponsored currently. And I am not complaining because I know what God told me. And I don't know what is his plan for tomorrow. I don't know what is his plan for tomorrow. And so I'm just taking it one day at a time.
Which means that if we look deep enough, we will find support within our shores.
Sure.
Without
Definitely.
having to go
Definitely,
international.
definitely,
However,
yes.
that doesn't take away from the importance of some of those well-established, international bodies that we all know about, who come in now and again. To
for
help
collaborations.
us. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So now, let's turn our attention to the widows themselves. What are the typical challenges they face upon, say, the demise of their spouses?
Yeah, I'm very passionate about that because I deal with that very regularly, even as last night. Wow. So, and it's very sad, very, very sad that most of the challenges that widows, and let's not forget widowers, widows and widowers, the first challenge they face is from their immediate family, their in-laws. That is the first challenge they face. Either way, it's from their in-laws. So currently I have a case of a widow who, before the man passed on, her husband passed on, they were living in the family house.
Okay.
For years. The reason I don't know. When the man passed on, the family asked the lady to leave the family house with her children. that they want to rent out the house, the room. So it starts with the family. I had another case of a widow when the husband passed on. She was living with the family accommodation, not like family house, but where she and her husband were living as a family.
Yeah.
And the family came and said she has to leave that house.
So
Before then, they were taking care of her, feeding and the children and everything. All of a sudden, they said she has to leave that premises as if she doesn't want to. I have to say it. If she doesn't want to continue serving the family idol.
Oh.
I am a Christian and I have to say it on air. She said she cannot continue because I think she's a Christian, but I don't know her background. But she said she cannot, because she couldn't do that. She was sent out and she was staying in the kiosk
so
with her children. So it's family.
Family first.
Yes, the immediate in-laws.
What other areas do they normally?
And accommodation. Accommodation.
Yeah.
And of course, feeding. School fees for the children who are now semi-orphans. School fees. Then even when they get somebody to pay for 1 year rent for them, that 1 year rent expires.
Very quickly.
So when it expires, so for those who are, remember that we're talking about widows or widowers who are less privileged. Not those who are privileged, they have a job going or they have a business going. Those are not people we are talking about. We're looking at a typical woman or man. Indigents, yes. Vulnerable. Maybe the woman was full-time housewife. And the man passed on. So she has to empower herself. Either learn a trade or start a business. Then when the rent expires, maybe the husband has paid that year rent, had to pay that rent. Of course, when the school session ends, we are going to the next school session. You know, when the man passes on, you have people coming in.
Sure. Yeah.
Take this, take this, take this. But that dwindles off.
So it has to be managed.
Yes. So it dwindles off. Then so children's school fees will come in the next school year. Then their health.
Yes. I see this beyond just giving. I see it like at that point in time, either the woman, the widow, or the widower, it's prepared to begin life almost afresh. Because it's totally new.
It's a new
where
order,
the person is starting is a new order. Thank you, John. And you would have several people coming to you once they find out that, you have help available for them. I'd like to know, how do you determine who really needs help? Especially you're talking about the indigent people. I mean, especially in churches right now, at the end of service, some churches, you have packs of food, in the welfare department. And you will be amazed at the crowd. And I'm like, you don't look indigent. You don't look like you need this food. Allow the other people
to have it.
So in an environment such as, that we are greedy, everybody just wants to take. How do you determine who really is in trouble that needs help?
Absolutely. I agree, we are greedy. So like when we started intentionally, meeting intentionally, I meet people one-on-one.
Okay.
I don't just throw it open.
Okay.
I get somebody who knows you. That I know this woman to her house.
Yes.
Okay.
I know the situation. I know when her husband passed on. So it's not like we're not looking at numbers. I am not looking at numbers. Okay. I'm looking at one by one case for now.
Peculiar.
And the number is increasing, but with that one-on-one, they know that you are looking for genuine people.
Yeah.
You are looking at people who have real needs. So that is how I identify the real ones. Then secondly, the focus should be on establishing somebody, not giving stipends.
Yeah. Yes.
Establishing this woman or this man.
Yes.
What does she want to do? Okay, she's doing a trade now, right? But maybe the trade needs to grow. Or she's still wallowing in the self-pity of I'm a widow. Yeah. So you can give the person something to start. Also, we have noticed that there are some that you set up, they run the petty trade down within a short while.
Yes.
They run it down within a short while.
So they need to be taught how to do proper business planning. And
so right now we are channeling most of our efforts towards empowerment, training, empowerment, training. Not just having your monthly meetings and sharing rice or sharing semo or sharing akra. We are looking at channeling into capacity building. Sure. This woman that you have given rice today, she will come back tomorrow to ask for rice to feed her children.
Yes.
But what about when if you set up a business for her, a petty trade for her, and you teach her how to manage that business so that she doesn't start eating into her profit before you know it, the business is down. I have some like that.
That's the whole, the whole idea of being intentional, which I said is a key word that you dropped in earlier on. And if you're intentional with the way you run your support organization, you definitely, will do a better job at it. Yeah. So, Helen, what are we doing now? It's time for us to take a break. It's time for us to take a break. We'll take that quick break, and we will be right back.
She's been on hot seat. Let's cool down this seat a while. Let's take a break. Always a pleasure to be on the show. It's called Today with John and Helen on PlusTvAfrica, channel 408 on DSTV. And this morning, our focus is on support organizations. Help me there. Support organizations. Yes, I've had a lot of insight from the guests this morning that I'm a bit emotionally attached to this. Support organizations. And on this segment, we're looking at the plight of the widows and how we can support them through these organizations. Widows' problems, is what we're talking about. And Madam, thank you so much for being a part of today's show.
Thank you.
Now, the problems of widows, they range from psychological to financial to spiritual and what have you. Kindly tell us how much the Nigerian social system, specifically the social system in Nigeria, how much has it helped in solving the widow's problem?
Thank you again, Helen. That's a very deep question. I know for a fact that there are not very many support systems for widows and widowers around us. We have a lot of focus on orphans. We have fewer support systems for widows and widowers, and with our culture, there's a lot that a widow or widower they go through. I don't want to mention cultures, but we all understand what we are saying. When a woman, her husband passes on, sometimes they'll say, maybe it's the woman that killed the husband. Or in some culture, if a woman passes on, they'll say it's her husband that killed her. Go and bring our daughter for us, or do this or do that before you can bury our daughter. So you have a lot around the widows and widowers that's psychological, spiritual, of course, financial, economical.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have enough right now that is focusing on those people intentionally, not like haphazardly, planned organizations that take care of the needs of these people. And their needs are diverse. Even just talking to them is something. So we have the counseling aspect of it, and that takes care of the psychological part. Because by the time they go through all those cultural challenges, those things that they go through after the spouse has passed on, it takes them a while for them to settle down and say, okay, I want to think about how I want to look after my children, if children are involved. It takes a while for them to get out of that and be able to focus on what's the next step.
Life.
And time is, time doesn't wait for anyone.
Yes.
Time is going. Meanwhile, this widow or widower is trying to see how he or she can come out of that situation psychologically. You can see somebody smiling, but they're not okay inside.
Yeah, and sometimes you get stuck in that bubble.
Yes.
That may just start your own decline too.
Thank you. Until somebody comes in to pull you out, of that state.
Yeah.
So I think we need more. We're not doing enough in that sector right now.
I tend to
like when I became more intentional about mine, people were saying that, so we have things like this, we have things like this, we have things like this, we have things like this. We are not very many. Widows are not, orphans are not that, domestic violence, you have a lot around that, but there's a lot around widows and widows that we are not really...
That hasn't been touched.
You have the stigma part of it, and... It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yes.
I mean, the way
it's a lot.
With the picture you've painted, it really must be a lot.
Yes, it's a lot.
Now, I want to ask you something. Given our culture and traditions, which you've touched on a bit, and the structuring of the family system, the family unit, as so to speak, don't you think the first place for widows and others seeking support should be the family?
That is the ideal thing. So our advocacy should really start from the family, the immediate family. What happens if somebody, a spouse passes on? What should be our support?
Yes.
Even your own siblings, because I don't just do outreaches like a crowd. I engage with them one-on-one.
One-on-one, yes.
Even if I don't engage with them during the outreach or after the outreach, I have their numbers. I engage with them, and the feedback you get is, I was speaking with one last night. She said when her husband passed on initially, her family, that is, she was talking about her siblings now,
family.
Her immediate siblings, not even her in-laws, not even in-laws, our own siblings, that they were very forthcoming. But she said, but now if she calls them, they will say, I hope no problem.
You're on your own now.
Thank you. So she's not really encouraged to go to them, and she has a medical case.
Oh dear.
She has an ongoing medical case that is really very touching. That she said she cannot. She's not encouraged to. I agree. They all have their own issues as well.
Yes.
So we need advocacy around the immediate family, because if your immediate family cannot really support you,
where would you get help?
Yes.
Where?
So we need the immediate family, then of course the in-laws.
Okay.
The in-laws, or whether you say ex-in-laws. In-laws are in-laws.
In-laws are in-laws.
Yes. So.
Okay. Well, that's where the support should start from.
Yes.
Unfortunately, not a lot comes from there. We're also looking at the fact that most support organizations seem to concentrate on urban areas. What are we doing? Don't you think that we should be looking at the interests of the widows and the widowers in the rural areas?
Helen, you hit the nail on the head, like they say. The real ones don't focus on the urban areas. We have a branch in Efron, Delta State. I am from there. So I reach out to my home place. And we hope to grow.
Yeah.
And I know a couple of people who are going into the rural areas. You don't see much of them in the urban side. So I agree that we have more focus on the urban area right now, but those who are really passionate about what they are doing, they will not focus on the urban areas alone. Because in the rural areas, even where they cannot even speak your English, they are there. And they have similar needs. Whether they can speak English or they cannot speak English, the needs are the same. The challenges are the same. It may be even more.
Yes.
Maybe even more in the rural areas. So we need to is it decamp or deconcentrate and move de-emphasize, yes, and move a bit into the rural areas and have more impact there and show more love there. Show more love, because those ones there, they really don't. If you move into the rural areas, you are really being more intentional. You are really being more deliberate. You are being more sacrificial.
Yeah.
You are moving out of your comfort zone.
And
You are
really,
moving out of your comfort zone.
that really is it. You know,
Comfort zone.
Yes, you're
Once
moving out of
upon a
your comfort
time,
zone.
that was across board, like the special project or the pet project of most governors' wives. You know, I really don't know how much of the lives of the rural women and the men, or widows and widowers, that they touched. But I know that once upon a time, that was the in thing, you know, for the first ladies in the States to
To
pet
pick on,
projects,
and
it made
for
an
widows
impact, yes.
and for orphans.
And it made
and
an
all that.
impact. They always look forward to things like that. So it gives them hope. Even if we say, okay, it's politically motivated, but those people are the grassroots that you are reaching, you are touching. It's a positive impact. It's something they look forward to.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm trying
We're almost
to.
winding down.
I'm trying to, you know, kind of put all of this together, and it's. I see that it's even wider than we even imagined. But let's quickly look at something. You see, in the absence of a robust social welfare system, also coupled with inadequate training, right? We seem to have created a gap in the system. You know, if we had all of that, we would have been able to, you know, close up that gap and maybe achieve a lot more. How much do you think this may have helped, you know, in covering us as a community, if we had a more organized social welfare system?
And how can we go about that?
Yeah, how can we go about that?
Very
quickly. Please.
Yeah, that is like revamping our system.
Yes.
We want to be like the US. We want to be like the UK social system.
Yes.
The welfare
And
system.
the social welfare system, and that involves a lot. That involves a lot. So we can start from the local government. In this local government, we have departments we call you have a department that take care of the rural area. I don't know what they call them.
Yes.
Those groups that take care of rural areas and take care of support groups.
Yes.
We can start from there, put the registers of support groups together, and they can have a meeting. They can start from there. They can be trained. They can have a brainstorming session and put some things in place and be trained, and they move out.
Wow.
So that when you, an individual who is interested in helping, gets into an
know where
environment
to go,
like
yes.
that, you know where to go. You know,
yes.
There's a list of
Yes.
you know, places
Yes.
and people to reach out to.
And that will also sift out those who are not legible, who are not real, who don't have genuine needs, or those who are just greedy, and those who are not qualified, so
And
to
see
say.
how you just brought out the solution. I hope other people are thinking like this.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Apostle
Ellie.
Eunice.
Thank you. Yes.
We really wish that we had more time to
Yes.
find out your experience. You know, you're a testifier. You went through this.
Yes.
And it was part of what made you to start this organization. Maybe another opportunity will afford us that window to learn more about you, you know, when your husband passed and what actually triggered, you know, for you to set up this organization.
If you will have
for
me.
today,
If you will have
thank
me.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
James
Thank you so
Ellie.
much for
Thank you.
standing up and delivering, you know, succor
She's sitting down.
to, to a lot of people. So,
Thank you. God bless you.
Amen.
Thank
up
you.
next,
God bless you.
Dolly, our Keep Fit instructor, will take us away from the studio to her world.
And as soon as Dolly is through, Pharaoh Owotomo is back on her bit, and her guest will be with her.
Hello everyone! and welcome to the fitness section of today's show. I'm Dolly Phillips at Alpha Fitness Studios in Lekki Phase 1. And today we're going cardio all the way. Heart pumping cardio. If you're ready, let's go. First, warm up. Deep breath in and out. Get yourself in the zone and out. One more and out. Shoulder rolls back. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. Forward. 1, 2, 3. Circle arms back. Big circles. Awesome. And forward. 1, 2, 3. Knees up. And 1, 2, 3. Kickbacks. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So we're starting with our jumping jacks. This is the option, or right here. And your time starts now. Let's go. 2, 3, 4. Step up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Step out. 1, 2, 3. Come on, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Step out. 1, 2, 3. And time. Awesome. Now with that one, if you can't do the jumping jacks, just step out. That's fine. Next one, we're bringing those knees up. 4 singles and 1, 2, 3, 4 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4 singles. Ha, ha, ha. Doubles. Singles. Ha, ha, ha. Doubles. Come on. And time. Awesome. What are we doing next? Flutter kicks. We're going to kick out. That's all we're doing. Have fun with this one. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Kick out. Come on. That's it. Lean back. Woo! Lean back. That's it. Kick it out. Kick it out. Have fun with this one. Move to the side if you want. It's only 20 seconds. Kick it out. Kick it out. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, and time. This one is hard. We're going to do jump squat side to side. Are you ready? Come on. Let's go. Keep your focus forward. Look at me. Look at me. Big smile. That's it. If you can't jump, just step. Step. But if you can jump, come on. Let's go. Have 5 more seconds. And time. Awesome. This is the easiest workout we're going to do today. Kickbacks. That is it. Lean forward. We're going to touch our ankles behind. Ready? Squeeze those abs. Stay focused. Make sure you touch your ankles. That's it. Touch. Whoo! Touch. That's it. Come on. If you can't go as quickly as me, that's fine. Slow it down. But if you can, why not? Awesome. Other side. Ready? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Come on. No time. Go. 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 Squeeze those abs. Let's go. Slow it down if you need to. If you don't need to slow it down, speed it up. Speed it up. Up. Almost there. Almost there. Don't give up. Big smile. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and time. Awesome. Let's decompress. Deep breath in. All the way down to the toes. In. All the way down to the toes. One more. In. All the way down. And roll up. Balance test. Stretch those quads. Hold on to something if you need to. And lean. Stretch forward. Hamstring stretch. Good. Calves, hamstrings. Awesome. Other side. Man, that really got me. You can see my sweat. And extend in front of you. Heel down. Good. Feel those calves and the hamstrings. Awesome. And up. Side stretch. Reach. Super. Other side. Reach. Super. Last one. Slide down those thighs all the way down. Go to your maximum. Drop your head. Stretch the back of your back. The base of your spine, sorry. Bend your knees and roll up. Wow. That was an incredible workout. Thanks for joining me and see you very soon. Stay fit. Bye-bye.
Sexual and gender-based violence is a topic that, while some are always spotlighting, still isn't being discussed enough. Everyday men, women, girls, boys, and babies are sexually abused. And unfortunately, only a small percentage of cases are brought to the forefront. And in the case of the men or the male child, the percentage is even lower. So whilst it's sometimes hard to know that someone is being abused, we can still do more to prevent some of these cases. Sometimes it takes being more aware, vigilant, sensitive, and cautious. In Nigeria, there are non-government and government support organizations working assiduously to help the victims, but they can't do it alone. You and I need to be a part of the solution, in whatever shape or form we can. One of such organizations is Women at Risk International Foundation, known as WARIF. And with me today is Chinemerem Wealth, a sexual health and gender-based violence educator who currently serves as the project manager and community service lead at WARIF. Chinemerem coordinates and facilitates sexual and gender-based violence prevention and intervention programs in rural communities within and outside Lagos State, Nigeria. And she's also a certified girl, child, and human rights advocate. Welcome, Chinemerem. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Good morning.
I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Chinemerem.
Chinemerem, short form
Chichi.
Chichi.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I can say Chichi.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So the assumption is we all know that sexual and gender-based violence, the assumption is we know what it is, but please, in your own words, can you explain it to us a bit more?
Okay, thank you. So sexual and gender-based violence is any form of abuse that is carried out on an individual. It's sexual in nature. It is usually either forced, coerced, through manipulation or domineering the individual. It is mostly done without the individual's consent. So the key word there is consent. So if you use a verbal word sexually against an individual, I didn't ask for it. It's a form of sexual harassment. It is verbal in nature.
What do you mean by a verbal word?
Okay, so I'm walking down the street and the guy says, "Oh, your breast looks perky in that dress." Or he says, "Oh, look at your ass. It looks like a Manchester or Arsenal." I mean, people say different things on the streets of Lagos. And even on social media, I mean, it's not just on the streets.
Well, actually, everywhere.
Yes. So if you use such words, it's sexual harassment. It is verbal in nature. We also have it in the physical form. So if you take it a step further to probably touch the person, hit them on the bum, she didn't ask for it, so there isn't consent. Now, I said she. People often feel it's only women who have been abused. Men are also abused. So sexual and gender-based violence, it's any form of abuse that is sexual in nature. It is without the person's consent.
Is sexual abuse and gender-based violence, is it the same thing?
No, they are not.
Okay, can you explain that,
Okay,
please?
so when we say gender-based violence, it's any form of violence that is carried out on an individual based on their gender, ethnicity, or maybe race at times. So when you talk about gender-based violence, you're talking about domestic violence, you're talking about rape, you're talking about marital or spousal rape, you're talking about child abuse or molestation, female genital mutilation, we have the child marriage, we have different forms of gender-based violence. These are just some examples. Now, when you say sexual, you're bringing it down to rape, right? That's having forceful sexual intercourse with an individual without the person's consent. You're making reference to sexual harassment. You're making reference to child molestation. Because an adult, you say it's rape. For a child, a minor, someone who's below the age of 18, it is sexual molestation or child abuse.
I see. So molestation is also rape, but for children.
Absolutely.
I see. I see. And is it age specific?
Yes, a minor. I mean, yeah, we say below the age of 18. If the person isn't up to 18, then it's a minor. But for an adult, you can't say, I was molested. People use it. People use it a lot. We've heard people say things like, the child was raped. But you can't rape a child, because a child can't even give valid or informed consent. So when we talk about consent, we're referring to adults, because as an adult, I know what it is that I want. I know whether I want to engage in that sexual activity or not. I understand the consequences of being sexually engaged. But for a child, he or she doesn't even have an understanding of what is being done to them, because they are not informed about what it is. So only an adult can give valid and informed consent. And for a child, they can't give. And even for adults, I mean, in certain states, they can't give valid consent. So someone who's unconscious, for instance, can't give you valid consent. If
they've been drugged.
Drugged, exactly. So even if I say yes to that activity, I'm not in my right frame of mind. So whatever thing I say in that time is not valid.
I see. In your line of work, you've been doing this for a very long time. What is the percentage of what's the most common age of sexual and gender-based violence that you have seen?
Okay, so the youngest that I have seen in my line of work, I would say 6 months.
6 what?
That I have seen 6 months.
6
yes, 6
a
months.
6 months baby.
Yes. 6 months. I've heard of 3 months, but I didn't see. But the one I've had to engage with in my line of work, I'll say 6 months.
6 months baby.
Absolutely.
Sexually molested.
Yes, please. Or defiled. Yes. 6 months. Yes. And the oldest is about 97.
Eh? 90 what?
97 years old woman.
97.
Yes. A grandmother.
My goodness.
Trust me, the statistics are alarming, and a lot of people still feel it's something people make up. We have people on social media who come out to say women make these things up just to bring down a public figure or to destroy that man's name, tarnish his image and all of that. But the truth is, every day, the least we see is about 3 cases a day. I mean, people are coming to report, and it's a good thing that a lot of people feel more comfortable speaking up now. Before now, I mean, people didn't really feel comfortable coming out to speak up. We talk about the stigmatization, the culture of silence. People blame and shame the survivor as opposed to calling out the perpetrator. But right now, we see a lot of young women and even parents or caregivers who feel comfortable seeking help in cases of abuse these days, as opposed to in the past where people just want to keep it calm. And again, it's because some people who even want to report don't even know the right ways to go about it. They don't know the channels to approach.
Wow. Can it be prevented? Because, a lot of parents say, this can't happen to my child. I have put the correct measures in place. I trust my staff. I trust their teachers. I trust the people I have put in the responsibility of caregivers, domestic help. So how is it that these things are still happening when there's supposedly a lot of trusted people in these, in these people's social circles? So can this be prevented?
Well, I would say kudos to parents who are putting in the right measures to make sure that they protect their children. But the truth is, you can't say you completely trust everybody around you, because we've had cases where the father is the one abusing the child. I mean, I've had to deal with a case where the father raped the 2 daughters, had impregnated one twice, took her for an abortion. So it was the second time it happened that the girl spoke up. We've had cases where it's a religious leader, whether in the church or the mosque or something. I mean, we've seen a whole lot. We've had school teachers, we've had cousins, siblings who abuse. So you can't exactly say, oh, you've put in the right parameters so it won't happen to your child. It's good that you've taken measures, you've put measures in place to protect that child, but it's a continuous thing. I always advise that parents should start early to engage their children. Okay, a typical example I like to give is in the African context. So when a child breaks a dish, for instance, the parent comes and the first question is, why did you break that dish? So do you know how much I bought it? And before you know it, they're abusive on that child, they're all aggressive, right? They don't even ask to find out, hope you didn't get injured, right? Hope you're safe, okay? Now, when that child breaks another dish another day, I won't come to tell you that, Mom, I broke a dish, because I would recall how you reacted the first time. But imagine a parent who notices that, oh, okay, this child has broken a dish, and goes, oh, sorry, Chichi, so hope you're safe, hope you didn't, I'm so sorry, okay, did you pack them well, and all of that. Next time when I break something, I'll feel comfortable to come speak to you. But our parenting style in Africa is such that you're always raising your voice at your children, you don't have that rapport with them, so they feel, most cases that we even get, it's maybe a teacher in school or one auntie in the area who comes to report the case. And when you ask the child, why didn't you tell your mom? Oh, my mom will beat me. My mom will shout at me. My mom won't believe me. So parents should start early to have a rapport with their children, start early to teach them these things. And we like to code a lot of things. Penis is penis, vagina is vagina. You have some children say, oh, uncle touched my pee-pee. What's pee-pee? So start early to teach them about their body parts. Let them know that some body parts are private to the other. Understand that uncle, whoever, no matter how close that relative is to the family, they don't have any right to touch you in a particular part of your body. And when it happens, know that I'm your mother, know that you can trust me, know that I'm your father, you can tell me anything. But if I have that mindset that my mom would always yell at me or she would always beat me, she won't be the first go-to person. Okay, so for parents, yes, it's good if you already have that measures in place to make sure that they are not abused. But try as much as possible to have that continuous fellowship with your child. Engage them, ask questions. Talk about their body parts. Let them know that at some point you would admire a boy. At some point you would look at a girl and see that a girl is beautiful in your class. Okay? These are what you should do, or these are the things that you should do about them, or you should come to me and let me know how I can help you with these feelings or when your hormones begin to change. But in this part of the world, we don't want to talk about sex. We don't want our children to tell us they are having feelings towards another person in school. So when it happens, they are just hiding and keeping things away from us because they're afraid that when they come to us, we probably won't believe them or would yell at them. So they'd rather keep it to themselves and not speak up.
It's interesting because sexual and gender-based violence happens everywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
But in Africa, primarily in Nigeria, it seems like some of these things happen because of the culture we have, because of our traditions, because of the way of life we have. And what you're saying is we need to start addressing what we consider to be the cultural norms.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a child at a very young age says you can't question an adult. You can't speak up when an adult does something wrong. An adult can't apologize to a child. Okay, but if as a parent you have raised your children to know that regardless of the age of the person, you can respectfully ask questions. You can respectfully call their attention to something they are doing wrong. So my uncle is fondling my breast, for instance, because mommy says you cannot talk back at an adult. I can't let uncle know that what you're doing is wrong. And I'm not comfortable enough to go report uncle to mommy because mommy sees uncle as that reverend individual at home that is all perfect, can't do no wrong. We've had cases where we tell, and God forbid, it's not possible. Do you know who he is? He's a leader in our church. He does this. He helps widows. He helps the poor. And you come to say, even right there after the child has reported maybe through another trusted adult, and you invite the parents over for a conversation. You see the parents blindly defending this person because they feel it's not possible that my pastor in my church would abuse, or my imam that takes care of those children in the Islamic school would do this. But the truth is, strangers are not the people. From our statistics, people who are known to the survivors are mostly the abusers, are mostly the perpetrators. Uncles, aunties, school teachers, fathers, religious leaders. So it's not that random stranger on the streets who grabs you when you're walking in one lonely street late at night. No, it's usually people known to the family. And they take time to groom the child. Some of those perpetrators, they take time to groom the child. It starts with, oh, yawo me in Yoruba, meaning my wife, my wife,
I understand. Wife. To a child?
To a child, yes. They come visiting and the next thing they want the child to sit on their thighs and all of that. And, the child gets comfortable. Then that young girl who mommy has never looked at to say, oh, do you know you're so beautiful? Uncle is the first person telling her she's beautiful. In a way, he's building her self-esteem. She sees uncle as a person who admires her, who sees the best in her. Her mom doesn't tell her that, her father doesn't tell her that. If uncle comes one day and invites her to his room, she won't as much as object because one, there's that trust. Uncle won't do anything to harm me. So she's comfortable enough to listen to uncle saying, auntie actually. I keep saying, the thing is, the statistic says 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 3 girls. So it's not that boys and men are not being abused, but we have more women and girls who are vulnerable to these things. I mean, because they say we are the weaker vessels. I mean, we're not weak, we're very strong. You know, but for the men, they won't come out to speak up. It's not so much with the men and the boys, but it doesn't mean that they're not being abused. But we have more women and girls who are being abused. That's why it feels as though I'm making reference to Uncle.
So,
and
okay,
Uncle
so
Red
I
again.
want to go to the support organizations because I know what WRF does, and I wonder, are there enough organizations? I know you had mentioned to me that the government does help. Can you tell me how the government helps? And can you tell me if there are many more organizations actually, you know, trying to help these victims?
Well, kudos to Lagos State. They have done so much with regards to domestic violence, sexual and gender-based violence. The Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, that's the DSVRT, they do so much around domestic violence, rape, child abuse, and all of that. You know, and setting up the sexual offense court was also a good step.
There's a sexual offense court?
Yes, a special offense court where they handle cases of sexual and gender-based violence and all. So it's a good step in the right direction, but the truth is there's still a lot of work to be done. We still have a lot of work to do in the space. I mean, in Nigeria, I think we have about, I know we have about 30 sexual assault referral centers in 17 states in Nigeria. 30 sexual assault referral centers. So sexual assault referral centers are like a referral place where you can refer cases of sexual and gender-based violence to. So the way you can send someone who's sick to a hospital. Sexual violence, sexual assault referral centers are places where survivors of rape and sexual and gender-based violence are being treated. There they get to see medical doctors who check them medically, maybe run tests to find out if they've been affected by the perpetrator or if they are pregnant from the situation of abuse.
Well, you're saying there are 30 of them?
There are 30 of them
Only
in
17 states
in Nigeria.
And there are 30, how many states?
We have over 36 the last time I checked. I think we're probably more
So,
right now.
so just over half the number of states we
Yes.
have, and there are 30.
Yes.
And in
So-
Lagos alone, we have how many people?
Let's not even start with the people. Let's look at the local government areas that we have. So in Lagos State, we have the DSVRT, we have some other centers. I think we have Mirabel and some other sexual assault referral centers. But the truth is, we have over 20 local government areas in Lagos State. I think over 21 in Lagos State, local government areas. And I mean, these cases are usually perpetrated in rural areas, rural communities. We're talking about Alimosho, Ikorodu, Ifakojaye, Abulegba.
No, but if you say that they're usually perpetrated in those rural areas, the people that live in Ikoyi, VI, and Lekki will think it doesn't happen.
No,
there.
it does. It happens in the urban areas as well, but it's more. I say it's more there because now we have like the market woman. She's out. The woman in that rural community. She's a market woman in one local market. She's out during the day. We have some street young boys who don't have anything they are doing. They're not in school. They don't have a job, and they're just there hanging around. We have that Mama BC's daughter who is not in school yet. Mama BC is in the market selling pepper or something. She's vulnerable to those boys on the street because they are not working. They don't have anywhere to go. In the Ikoyi, yes, it happens. I'm not saying that it's not happening in Ikoyi, but it's not as much as the rural communities. From our data, from the statistics that we have seen, it's usually from the rural communities because, I mean, Ikoyi, that's why I would have in such places, it's usually the school teacher, the school bus driver, maybe the gate man because the father is at work, the mother is also at work, so the child goes to school. So if it's not the school teacher, it's maybe the school bus driver.
That's
or
the
security
perpetrator.
Yes, the perpetrator of the abuse, yes. So it's maybe the gate, the security person at home because
Or
mommy
the domestic help.
or the domestic help.
Or in the cases of guys, the nanny.
The nanny. I mean, I've had male friends who say their first sexual experience was by a maid in their house or a cousin who came from the village for Christmas holiday and all.
So, not enough support.
Not enough. There's still a lot to be done. I mean,
How can we help?
well, as an individual, I think you can start by lending your voice, and you can't lend your voice until you understand what it is you're speaking about. So I tell people that social media is everybody's friend. If you go on Google, you can read up about anything, everything you want to learn about. There are free courses you can take. So you can go online, read up what's even sexual and gender-based violence, what is rape, who's a minor, who's an adult, who's affected, what are the
sexual
statistics?
harassment?
What is sexual harassment?
Because yesterday you said to me, if a man says to a woman, you look sexy today, That's sexual harassment.
That's sexual harassment.
And my question to you was, are we not being a bit too politically correct there?
No. I mean, you can admire what I'm wearing without sexualizing me as an individual. So I can tell you that you look beautiful in that dress. That's insane. But if I start saying you look sexy in that dress, the word sexy is the problem.
Means that there's an ulterior motive.
Why sexy? Why not beautiful? Why not you look responsible in that dress? So a lot of things we tolerate in our society. I mean, there are various harassments that we tolerate. I mean, that conductor who's raising his voice at you, or that woman who's raising her voice at the conductor, that's a form of harassment. You can make your point known to an individual without necessarily raising your voice. So when we say abuse, is anything that makes another person feel less of who they really are. Anything that feel uncomfortable.
I've heard instances of people in the bus, and say a woman is sat beside a man in the bus. The man is fondling the woman, but she can't do anything because she's in a cramped bus, and the bus is in motion. And that seems to happen a lot.
Yes, it does. And you know something about that is we have people who won't even believe the woman. You'll be shocked that a good number of people in that bus or on that bus, including women, would start shouting at that woman, start yelling at her, say something like, I mean, this bus is already cramped. So why do you think, why would you say the man is touching you? Maybe it's the gallop, maybe something happened, maybe they push the man from the behind. But I'm the woman who's been touched. I know that this person standing behind me is harassing me by, using his groins or something to rest on me. And
so what do we do in these situations? How do we begin to change the narrative? Because it is frustrating to hear all these things and feel like we can't really make a difference.
We can. We all can. Start first by learning, knowing what it is. Understand that you have a voice and you can use it. The truth is, if we allow everybody to shut us up, if you feel, because people won't believe me or they will shut me up, then the cycle continues. So if one person can break the silence, if I come up and say my story and say me too, and people look at me and say, oh, Chinemere, really, you've been abused? If she can talk about it, then I can talk about my story. But if we allow people to hush us up, then the cycle continues. You saying your truth helps another young woman or young man to speak up. I mean, now we have men. Recently, the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team published some statistics, and over 80 men in Lagos State in the past 6 months says they've been abused by their wives. Toxic masculinity.
I think I remember seeing that, and there were mixed emotions, there were mixed feelings. I think a lot of people seem to laugh at the men who said that their wives have abused them. So how are the men going to talk when our society is? It goes back to this thing you were saying about culture. How does that man actually have the strength to actually say something?
You have to, and it goes from the family, how we are socialized as individual. You're giving birth to, and at home when you cry as a child, they tell you, don't cry, you're a man, you're a boy, don't cry, keep quiet. And that child grows up to conceal his emotion. He's on campus, he's going through stuff, he's going through things, and he can't own up to come out and tell even his male friends, that guy, I'm not finding this course easy and all of that. He conceals it. I have to man up, because as a child, I was told that I'm not supposed to cry as a baby. For women, we're more expressive. I can cry when I'm unhappy. I'm going through maybe my menstrual cycle. I'm having emotions running. I can let people know this is how I'm feeling. But for the men, they don't find it easy, and it's not something they learned as adults. It started as babies, as being that little child, that little boy who the mom says you can't cry. The father says, no, you have to be strong. You're a man. There's nothing wrong with showing emotion as a man. There's nothing wrong crying as a man. Jesus wept. True. So there's nothing wrong with crying, but it's just the way we've been socialized. That a man can't express how he feels. He would look like a weakling if he says he's been beaten by his wife. Speak up. Someday you're just going to die.
We always never have enough time.
Absolutely.
And we've run out of time. And for once, I'm actually quite grateful we have, because this is an extremely emotional topic for me. And what I want to know just before we round up is, what can we, the viewers, we at home, what can we begin to do differently today to make a difference? There are not enough organizations. How can we help?
So in your space as an individual, you want to start first by educating that young girl in your space, that little girl that you have around you. Let her know that it's okay to speak up. Talk to that young boy. Let him know that it's okay to express however it is he's feeling. Okay? And use your voice.
Use your voice.
Use your voice, basically. Speak about it. Don't shame the survivor or blame them. Listen to them and provide whatever support that you can.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Chichi. Thank you so much for this. Yeah, use your voice.
Use your voice.
Use your voice. Thank you so much,
Thank
Chichi.
you.
Right, so very, very in-depth conversation. Not enough time. John, Helen, and myself will very quickly round up the show. So please stay with us. And I really, really hope we've learned something from this today. Thank you.